に燃える闘志があるなら巨大な敵を撃てよ撃てよ撃てよ正義の怒りをぶつけろガンダム機動戦士ガンダム
Hello and welcome back to Gundam Dissection. Sorry it took so long. It was a long time. 2 years? No, fuck. 3 years. Yeah, I'm sorry that took so long to follow up for my introduction video. Lots happened. I've been busy with school, personal life. A lot of shit I don't want to get into. But yeah, I just watched or rewatched the original the Gundam 0079. So yeah, let's dissect it. I mean, this is what I've been trying to do for like years now. Okay, so a little bit of a summary. Mobile Suit Gundam, or Gundam 0079, or First Gundam, whatever you want to call it, tells the story of Amuro Ray being drafted into a war in the future of Universal Century 0079 by the Earth Federation, and to fight against the Principality of Zeon. And throughout the journey, he experiences traumas, tragedies, triumphs, and of a newfound family, and defeated the space Nazis. And then the Federation imprisoned him because of his new psychic powers. Yep, we'll get into Zeta next episode. So yeah, there's a lot I want to dissect here, so I'm gonna go through the first 5 points that I think are most interesting about the show. Number 1, the allegory of the show. A lot of people say this is like an allegorical, spiritual retelling of World War II with elements of World War I. And it is, but it's also like an allegorical battle of modern-day Japan, or technological Japan, versus its imperialistic Japanese past, where basically the Japanese Empire from 1931 to 1945 conducted some of the worst war crimes in human history. And basically it's a battle of identities between technological Japan versus Imperial Japan, with the Zeons being inspired by Imperial Japanese uniforms, and the modern Japanese obviously being modeled after both American, British, and modern Japanese uniforms. And I found that interesting, considering the conflict of the show is basically about, in a way, about Japan or Tomino reconciling their past and also the relationship between their parents, which brings me to reason 2, the family dynamic. Tem Ray's father, Amuro Ray's father is Tem Ray, the creator of the Gundam, and while he does love Amuro and has good intentions for him, it doesn't excuse him being neglectful, for working for the greater good. And his mother is, well, both parents have good intentions, just awful ways of expressing it or executing it. But yeah, let's go. I'm gonna focus on Tem Ray for the rest of this section. So Tem Ray is basically an anime archetype that's been around since the days of Astro Boy, about the neglectful father figure. Started with Dr. Tenma and Astro Boy, and will culminate with Gendo Ikari and Evangelion. Although Gendo is not as, while Tem is not as bad as Gendo, he still acts neglectful. This is also a stereotype within Japan, specifically modern Japan, where after the Japanese Empire collapsed, the the generation that was left to rebuild Japan have been working really hard to rebuild it, much to the detriment of their children's, much to the neglect of their children and families. And 0079, in some way, it's being critical of this stereotype, but also like humanizing it, so we understand what this generation went through to rebuild their home. And and in the end, the only way to have a family is to find a family, or a found family, which Amuro gets at the end with the white base crew. Section 3. Section 3. Oh boy. Let's talk about the new type aspect. Possibly the most controversial thing in the Gundam fandom for some reason. And I'm just gonna say it. I fucking love new types. Fuck you, fight me. Like the whole idea, like a lot of people say, oh, it diminishes Amuro's character. No, it doesn't. Like, new types aren't like force wielders or super powered individuals like superheroes or stuff. There are beings who can understand regular humans and and other new types through empathy. Like, they're empaths, not psychics. And while they do have elements of psychic powers, ultimately a new type is basically a person who's able to empathize with a human being on a primal level and help them, and able to, in theory, help them and guide them, which was Zeonzun Daikun's ideal for new types, for them to be a guide for humanity to move to space, which would unfortunately be twisted up in both the Federation and Zeon as weapons of war. But we'll get to Zeta when we get to it. Section 4. I want to talk about the animation. Oh wait, one more thing about Section 3, sorry. So yeah, a lot of people say, oh, come on, Gundam is about grounded combat. I'm like, I mean, yes it is, but it's more than that. Gundam is more than about anti-war. It deals with a lot of subjects. If you want like something that doesn't have new types, you're that upset about it, that's yeah, I mean, go watch any of the Gundam OVAs from the 90s, or hell, if you want to watch a mecha anime with no new type influence, go watch their works of Ryunosuke Takahashi, specifically Dougram Dougram. Go watch Dougram. Like, it's basically what you wanted, what you think the original Gundam was, and it's 75 episodes long, but it's worth it. I haven't seen it, but my friend loves it. But yeah, going back to Section 4, I want to talk about the animation. Like, I know a lot of people say, oh, 70s anime, 60s anime suck. I'm like, it's not that they suck. It's just that it's a different kind of animation. It's not about being dated. It's just, it has a distinct style for its time. Like, it's like saying, oh, silent films suck. I'm like, no, they don't suck. It's just, it's a different style for its time period. It's the same with anime. It's something you just need to get used to. And it's not even that hard to get used to. You guys watched 90s anime, which, is a culmination of all the techniques we learned from the anime industry from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So shut the fuck up. Okay, so the final verdict. Oh boy. I mean, obviously, when I first watched this show, I loved it, but I was like, I mean, it lived up to the hype. It's just, I loved Zeta much more, and also Tournai. And I'm just going to say here, I think this show might have Zeta beat. I have to rewatch Zeta to see 100%. But yeah, so far, this is one of the best Gundam series. And it is the first. So yeah, final score, a strong 10 out of 10. All right, see ya. Bye-bye. Good. Peace.